The mind, a boundless landscape of thoughts and emotions, possesses remarkable power. It shapes our perceptions, influences our actions, and colors our experiences. Yet this very mind, capable of such brilliance, can also become our tormentor. When thoughts race unchecked like wild horses galloping across an open plain, we fall into the clutches of overthinking. Overthinking, a relentless cycle of rumination and worry, can trap us in a prison of our own making. We endlessly replay past events, dissecting every detail, searching for answers that may never come. Lost in this labyrinth of thoughts, we become disconnected from the present moment, the only place where life truly unfolds. But there is hope. Ancient wisdom traditions such as Buddhism offer profound insights and practices that can help us tame the wild horse of the mind. Imagine a clear blue sky, vast and limitless. The sky represents our mind in its natural, unburdened state. Now, picture dark clouds gathering, obscuring the once serene expanse. These clouds symbolize the intrusive thoughts that begin to clutter our mental space. This is akin to what happens when we overthink. Our minds, once clear and receptive, become clouded with a barrage of thoughts, worries, and anxieties. Our minds, once clear and receptive, become clouded with a barrage of thoughts, worries, and anxieties. These thoughts can be about anything from trivial daily concerns to significant life decisions. We lose our sense of perspective, our ability to see things clearly. The more we dwell on these thoughts, the more distorted our view of reality becomes. Our ability to see things clearly diminishes, and we become trapped in a cycle of rumination. Overthinking manifests in countless ways, replaying conversations, dwelling on past mistakes, and worrying about the future. Media, person replaying conversation in their mind, person dwelling on past events, and worrying about the future. We become fixated on what could go wrong, creating scenarios in our minds that may never come to pass. This constant mental activity takes a toll on our well-being, leading to physical symptoms and emotional distress. The stress can manifest as headaches, fatigue, and even more severe health issues, leading to physical symptoms and emotional distress. Our bodies react to the mental strain, making it difficult to find peace. The problem with overthinking is not simply the content of our thoughts, but our relationship to them. We give them too much power and let them control our emotions. But our relationship to them. We need to learn to observe our thoughts without getting entangled in them. We forget that thoughts are simply mental events, fleeting and impermanent, like bubbles that rise and burst on the surface of a pond. They come and go, and we don't have to hold on to them, like bubbles that rise and burst on the surface of a pond. By recognizing their transient nature, we can free ourselves from the burden of overthinking and find clarity once again. Once upon a time, a weary traveler, exhausted and parched from his long and arduous journey through a vast, unforgiving desert, stumbled upon a shimmering oasis. The sight of the oasis filled him with a glimmer of hope. Eager to quench his unbearable thirst, he rushed towards a pool of water, his heart pounding with anticipation. But as he got closer, he recoiled in horror. The water was teeming with venomous snakes, their scales glistening menacingly in the harsh sunlight. The sight was terrifying, and the traveler felt a wave of despair wash over him. Despair gripped the traveler's heart. He had come so far, endured so much hardship, only to be confronted with this seemingly insurmountable obstacle. He sat down by the water's edge, his thirst intensifying with every passing moment. He reflected on his journey, the endless miles he had walked, the scorching sun he had braved, and now this. As he sat there, feeling utterly defeated, he noticed a small gourd lying nearby. It seemed like a tiny beacon of hope in his dire situation. With trembling hands, he picked up the gourd and brought it to his lips, hoping for a miracle. His heart raced as he tilted it back. A single drop of liquid emerged, cool and refreshing. It was a small relief, but it wasn't enough to quench his overwhelming thirst. Overwhelmed by his misfortune and the cruel twist of fate, the traveler hurled the gourd to the ground in frustration, cursing his luck and the universe. As the gourd shattered, a stream of pure, clear water gushed forth, enough to satisfy his thirst 1,000 times over. The traveler realized that sometimes what we need is right in front of us, but our overthinking blinds us to the solutions. This story of the parched traveler offers a powerful metaphor for the experience of overthinking. Just as the traveler trudges through the endless desert, we often find ourselves lost in a mental landscape of our own making, filled with endless thoughts and worries. The venomous snakes represent our fears, worries, and anxieties, the obstacles that prevent us from finding peace. These fears can strike at any moment, much like a snake's sudden bite, paralyzing us with their venom. The single drop of water symbolizes the present moment, the only reality we truly have. It is pure, refreshing, and life-giving, yet often overlooked in our quest for more. Buddha taught that suffering arises from clinging to our thoughts, our desires, our views. This attachment creates a cycle of dissatisfaction and longing, pulling us away from the serenity of the present. When we overthink, we are clinging to the past or future, resisting the present moment. Our minds become a battleground of what-ifs and should-haves, leaving us exhausted and disconnected. One of Buddha's most profound teachings is the Four Noble Truths, which offer a framework for understanding and overcoming suffering. These truths guide us towards a path of liberation and inner peace. Mindfulness, the seventh element of the Eightfold Path, is a powerful antidote to overthinking. It invites us to return to the present, to the here and now, where life is actually happening. It involves paying attention to the present moment, without judgment, with an attitude of curiosity and kindness. This gentle awareness helps us to see things as they are, rather than through the distorted lens of our fears and desires. When we practice mindfulness, we cultivate an awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and sensations as they arise, without getting carried away by them. We learn to witness our inner world with a sense of detachment and clarity. We learn to observe our thoughts as mental events rather than identifying with them as solid, unchanging truths. This shift in perspective allows us to experience a sense of freedom and spaciousness, even amidst the chaos of our minds. Beyond the mind's grasp, the illusion of control. Often overthinking stems from a desire to control our lives, to predict and prevent negative outcomes. But the truth is, life is inherently uncertain. No amount of overthinking can change that. The more we try to control our thoughts, the more elusive they become. The key to freeing ourselves from the grip of overthinking is not to suppress or eliminate our thoughts, but to change our relationship to them. Imagine a river flowing downstream. Our thoughts are like the water in the river, constantly moving, changing, ebbing, and flowing. Mindfulness invites us to sit on the bank of the river and simply observe the water as it flows by. The gift of the present, finding peace in the now. When we shift our attention from the endless chatter of our minds to the present moment, something remarkable happens. We begin to notice the richness and beauty that surrounds us. The vibrant colors of a sunset, the gentle breeze rustling through leaves. The present moment is all we ever have. The past is gone, the future is yet to come. When we bring our attention to the present moment, we step out of the time machine of our minds and into the fullness of lived experience. In the present moment, there is no room for worry, regret, or anxiety. There is only this breath, this heartbeat, this moment unfolding before us. Cultivating mindfulness, a path to stillness. Mindfulness is not something we achieve overnight. It takes time and dedication. It is a practice, a way of being that we cultivate over time, with patience, kindness, and compassion for ourselves. There are many ways to cultivate mindfulness in our daily lives, each unique and personal. We can start by setting aside a few minutes each day for formal meditation practice. Find a quiet space, sit comfortably, and bring your attention to your breath, feeling each inhale and exhale. Notice the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body, grounding you in the present moment. When your mind wanders, as it inevitably will, gently guide it back to the breath, with kindness and patience. Breath as an anchor, grounding in the present moment. Our breath is a powerful anchor to the present moment. It is always with us, a constant reminder of the life force flowing through us. When we feel overwhelmed by our thoughts, we can simply pause, take a few deep breaths, and reconnect with the present moment. Try this simple breathing exercise. First, find a comfortable seated position. You can sit in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, or you can sit on a cushion on the floor with your legs crossed. Rest your hands in your lap, palms facing up or down. Next, close your eyes or soften your gaze. Then, bring your attention to your breath. Embracing imperfection, letting go of mental rigidity. One of the biggest obstacles to mindfulness is our tendency towards perfectionism. We strive for a state of mental stillness, free from all thoughts and distractions. But the truth is, our minds are like puppies. They love to wander and explore. The key is not to berate ourselves for our wandering minds, but to cultivate a gentle, compassionate approach to our practice. When we notice that our minds have wandered, we can simply acknowledge it without judgment and gently guide our attention back to the object of our focus. Mindfulness is not about emptying our minds, but about changing our relationship to our thoughts. It's about learning to observe our thoughts without getting carried away by them. The journey of mindfulness, a lifelong practice. The journey of mindfulness is truly a lifelong practice. There is no finish line, no point at which we can say, I am now completely mindful. It is a process of continual learning, growth, and personal transformation. There will be times when our practice feels effortless, when our minds are calm and clear, and there will be times when our minds feel like a tangled mess of thoughts. The key is to approach our practice with patience, kindness, and compassion for ourselves. The most important thing is to keep practicing, to keep showing up for ourselves even when it feels difficult. Conclusion: freedom from the mind's chatter. The mind is a powerful tool, but it can also be our greatest adversary. When we allow our minds to run unchecked, we become enslaved by our thoughts, trapped in a cycle of overthinking and suffering. But there is another way. By cultivating mindfulness, we can learn to tame the wild horse of the mind and find freedom from the tyranny of our thoughts. Mindfulness is not a magic bullet. It is a practice, a way of being that requires patience, commitment, and compassion for ourselves. But the rewards are immeasurable. Take a deep breath, bring your attention to the present moment, and begin.